Well, hello everyone. So welcome Dougie, welcome Pauline. We're here, my name is Alex. We're here to do a strength and balance class. We're in the borough of Hounslow, and our Hounslow residents need to know how to have strength and balance exercises to prevent falls and keep their mobility good as they get older. To start with, I'm going to do something really simple just so we can loosen up the body a bit to get ready for the slightly harder exercises, okay? In your chair, it should be a nice solid chair that you use at home. And if you need, have arms on the chair if you struggle to stand up. If you just come slightly to the edge of your chair, we'll do the first few exercises. To get the arms warm and the shoulders, just roll your shoulders forward and just get those loosened up as we get our bodies ready. A few circles of the shoulders, nice and relaxed breathing, and then roll the shoulders back. That's good. This is all just to get our bodies warm and ready for the movement, okay? Take your arms together at the front and just gently stretch up. Now, if you do have shoulder pain, be careful with this, don't go too high. If you can go above the head and you'll feel a gentle stretch between your shoulder blades. And then you can just hold that gently before coming down. Now, there may be some people that aren't comfortable if they have some arthritis in the shoulders, in which case you can do the stronger arm first. Let's say if this is the stronger arm, or if that gets tight around there, you can just gently give it a stretch with the other arm, but not if it's hurting. So you're just trying to stretch as far as comfortable. So if your arm can only go to there, you just hold it with the other arm and just gently give it a little extra push, as long as you're not causing any pain. Then we're going to do the neck. So this is quite good if we get any stiffness around this area. So we're just going to gently look to one side, look to the wall. No need to rush this, just breathe, relax, and come back to the middle, and then look to the other side. And that's just loosening off all of our neck and shoulders. So nice and relaxed, back to the middle. And we normally repeat that 3 or 4 times. So that's kind of our top half done quite quickly. There is another one that's really good for the middle of the spine. If you just cross your arms over your shoulders and just gently turn to one side, just like we did with the neck, you might feel that, for me, I feel that's really stiff in the middle of the spine. So you just want to gently push that to one side, breathing nice and relaxed, and come back to the middle. And you'll probably find one side's tighter than the other. Go to the other side, breathing nice and relaxed. If you're still driving, this will help you put your seatbelt on. Okay. We're going to move on to the legs and the spine, the lower spine now. So if you come slightly to the edge of your chair, and if you just put one heel out ahead of you, if you gently reach down, you don't have to touch your toes, but just gently reach down towards your ankle and foot. You'll feel probably a little stretch in your lower back, and probably a little stretch to the back of your thigh and the hamstring. So again, you just gently hold that, just enough to kind of loosen things off, ready for some of the harder exercises, and come up. And again, we normally repeat that 3 or 4 times, but for time's sake, let's just do the other leg. And then, as I said, gently reach down. Don't have to touch your toes, just far enough to get a good stretch, probably in your lower back and definitely behind your thigh. Just hold that 3-4 seconds if you can, and come up. And you decide how far to go down to stretch, okay? And then similarly, just lift the leg and keep the leg nice and straight if you can, and then just gently move the ankle up and down, okay? And this is good for the circulation in the legs, and also good for the thigh muscle because you're holding the leg in the air. Okay, so when you've done that 4 or 5 times, actually building up to 10 if you can, then we'll lower that one down. Now what you can do is you can go to the supermarket, as I've found, and you can get simple leg and arm weights, because if that's a little bit too easy for you, you may need some resistance. So if you go to supermarket, sports shops, you'll get this kind of thing, and then what you do is you just simply wrap that around your ankle. I managed to get these for £4 in the supermarket, so that was really good. And then it's exactly the same exercise, and because I've got a bit of resistance, I'm working that thigh a little bit harder, doing the same exercise, and that's really good if you found that too easy. Okay, so that's a little tip, but that's optional. Strength and balance all in one, and it's probably going to seem very simple, but all you need is a good sturdy chair. If you are slightly weaker and you require arms to push up, to make sure you have an arm with arms on your chair so you can do that. So the exercise is just standing and sitting in a controlled way. So if we do that together, we're going to sit to stand together. You ready? 3, 2, 1, and stand. Now that movement has strengthened the thighs, and also because we've got nothing in front of us, we're learning to balance on our own 2 feet, okay? Now, some people might find that too easy, but we'll just work with this for now. If it's too easy, try not to hold on, don't use your arms, just cross your arms over your chest and then see if you can sit down. If you're finding it too easy, see if you can do that, okay? That's almost like doing a squat. So let's do that again, okay? But as I said, if you're finding this hard, then you need to use your arms on a chair and then sit down, okay? So you can choose which method you use. Some people might find one hand is what they need to do this exercise. But the point is you're strengthening your thighs and you're learning to balance when you first stand up. So a good 4 or 5 of those is very important. After that exercise, we're now going to move on to using the back of the chair and doing a few movements while we're standing up, because to really work our balance, we have to be standing, not sitting for exercise. Okay, so if you stand up with me again and just carefully walk round to the back of your chair. Okay, and this is another reason why you need a nice sturdy chair and something that you can lean on about waist height. Okay, it's nice and tall, but with your knees a bit soft. So you don't want your knees locked, you want them slightly soft. Try and take one hip out to the side. Good. And back in. And again. And what you want to try and do is not do this, because that's sort of cheating. You're going to need to try and keep as upright as you can and just make the hip move. After a while, it really starts to work the hips in both legs actually. This leg that's moving and this leg that's balancing. So it's really good exercise. And then of course we do the other leg. And it is tricky not to do this because that's using other muscles. You want to try it as be upright as you can and just take the hip out and back in. And if you're finding that this is quite easy, then you just do very light touch on the chair, or even if you're feeling super confident, nothing on the chair. But I wouldn't recommend that until you're feeling really practiced and confident at that. Now at any point, because you've got your chair, you can go back and have a rest. But I'm just going to assume for now that Pauline and Dougie look very fit and strong, so we're going to keep going. Just you tell me if you need a break. The next one, again, you've always got the option to either lean both hands on the chair, just one hand on the chair, or no hands. But we're just going to use both hands for now, assuming that it's the first time we've done it and we need some support. So the next exercise, nice and tall, again soft in the knees. we're just gonna very gently bend the knees down. Now you do not have to go far, not far at all. That's perfect what Pauline and Dougie are doing. Just gently bending the knees, enough to flex and bend the knees and work the thigh muscles. Kind of like what the legs would be doing when you're walking. The knees would be bending about that far. Okay, so we're just replicating that knee bend that happens when we walk and when we use stairs. Okay? So, good. And as you can imagine, as you get stronger, you might find you're confident enough to either use just one hand or no hands. And the less support you have, the more your own muscles will have to do the work. But again, I do not recommend you do that if you feel that that's making you more unsteady. It's better to just start with the support. So we've just done quite a few strength exercises for the legs, hips and knees. So I'm going to suggest that we have a little sit down. And so we're just going to walk around the chair and just have a little rest before we carry on to some of the harder strength and balance exercises. So we've had a little break because we've just done some of our first standing exercises. So the thighs and the hips might feel like they've had a bit of work done. But if you're ready, we're going to do a few more on our feet because that's where the most important strength and balance exercises happen. So if you're ready, if you can stand up and come to the back of the chair. Okay, and again, the same principle applies. To begin with, we're going to use two hands for support, but as you get better, you may reduce that to one hand or no hands. And what I want you to do, again, nice and tall in your top half, knees nice and loose, because we don't want the knees locked out, we want them nice and relaxed. Just go up on your tippy toes, yeah? Up on your tiptoes and down, okay? And just repeat that movement. And that is going to strengthen the backs of your legs. It's a very, very good exercise. And at the same time, you're working your balance because when you go up on your toes, it's harder to balance, simply put. And all of these exercises are replicating parts of the walking process. So our ankles have to do this when we're walking. So we're trying to build the leg muscles up so they can help us walk in a nice balanced way. Okay, that's brilliant, Pauline and Dougie, that's brilliant. And then what you can do is you can go up onto your heels. So what you're doing is you're learning to shift the center of your gravity over onto your heels and like before, over onto your toes. Now, if this makes you unsteady at home, please just don't attempt this one. Just do what you feel is comfortable and where you're able to maintain your balance while exercising. Okay, and you can see Dougie and Pauline are well balanced and they're able to do this with two hands leaning on. We've kind of worked through our warm-up, we've worked through some really good strength exercises, moving into some balance stuff. But now we want to actually do some actual walking where we're going to challenge the balance and put all of those exercises into practice. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand up again and we're going to walk round to the back of our chair. And don't forget to use nice sturdy chairs like Doug and Pauline have got there, nice sturdy chairs. If you need to have arms to push up, make sure you have arms on your chairs. What we're going to do is we're going to hold on to the chair for the first, if we're doing it for the first time. So both hands on the chair. Now that we're standing behind our chair, we're supporting with our arms, we're now going to challenge ourselves a bit and just turn towards one side and just have one hand supporting. Now, if you feel comfortable doing this, please proceed. If you want to have a walking stick in the spare hand, do that. But ultimately do what you're comfortable with. If for any reason this is too unsteady for you, concentrate on the exercises we've already covered and you'll get stronger and you might find in a few weeks you can attempt this. But this exercise is now about walking. So we're facing one side and we've got a chair supporting, or you can do this with a kitchen counter or a sturdy dining table. One hand for support and then you're going to walk with one hand support, nice and slow, and you're putting into practice all of those exercises we've covered. Okay, so and then you turn, and again you need to hold on with the other hand onto the chair and the kitchen counter. Okay, so you're putting into practice all the exercises we've already applied, but you're giving yourself support. Now, in this environment, we've just given Pauline and Doug some chairs spaced in between. You can use a kitchen counter, you can use a dining room table, as long as it's about the height of just below your waist and somewhere where you can hold on comfortably with your wrist and hand. So this time we're going to turn and face the other side and just have your one hand of support. Now, some of you might want to have a walking stick in the spare hand. So feel free to have a walking stick if you're unsteady. But the important thing is, now we're working the right arm, have a kitchen counter or a chair, a few chairs lined up, and then walk along with that support of your right side now. Okay? And then stop there, and then turn around, and then again, with your right hand supported, walk back to where you came from. Okay? And then hold your chair. Okay? Now you can do that as many times as you feel comfortable, really, but the point is you're working your muscles a bit more practically and actually doing the walking movement with as much support from the chairs or the kitchen counter as you need. Here is another option for a balance exercise. All we're going to do is have one hand supported on the chair or the kitchen counter, as Pauline and Doug are doing, and then just put one foot in front of the other, as if you were taking a step. One foot in front of the other, chair supporting you. Now you'd be surprised, this is actually quite challenging for some people. They wouldn't be happy to do the full walking, but they might be happy to just put one foot in front of the other, a little bit of support from your hand, and balance. Now that is harder than it might look. If you're feeling really confident, you can actually do what we call a tandem stand, which is where you literally touch the heel to the toe of the other foot. But that's going to be too tricky for some people. So for me, the simplest option is one foot in front of the other, as if you've taken a step, one hand on the kitchen counter or the chair, and then as you get more confident, you may find you can let go of the chair. And even then, I can feel myself moving, swaying a little bit where my balance is having to adjust. And that is the whole point of these kind of exercises, challenging the balance and making sure that we can cope with something slightly out of the ordinary, something that throws us slightly off kilter. Okay, so if you bring that one leg back in and hold the chair and face the other way, because we want to work both sides. A lot of us have a stronger side, so it's important to work both sides, left and right. Same thing, one hand support and put one foot in front of the other. And as I said, if you're feeling really confident, see if you can let go of the chair. And a progression of this exercise, if you're finding this kind of thing too easy, would be to actually fully put your heel touching your toe, but that's quite tricky, and I wouldn't recommend that if you are feeling in any way unsteady for this. And finally, if you really want a progression to this exercise, this would be a more advanced exercise. You could actually do tandem walking, and that's kind of like tightrope walking, they call it, don't they? But that will be ideally with support, kitchen counter, with chairs, and then you will be attempting something slightly harder in that case. But that's just an example of a progression of the exercises to challenge you a bit more. But you must be careful to only attempt the harder ones when you're feeling steady and strong enough to do so. Okay, thank you very much, Pauline and Doug, for joining. We've been through quite a range of stretching, strengthening and balance exercises. If you would like to, some people like to end with a little bit of stretching, and you can repeat some of the exercises that we did at the very beginning. For example, I like to do the hamstring stretch at the end, just to loosen off the legs. But yes, we've done the whole program together. Bear in mind, you must adjust the program for how you're feeling, how confident you're feeling. Don't attempt some of the harder ones too early. But thank you so much for joining the program today, and I hope it was helpful for you.